Welcome in to another episode from the Critics Collective. I am the Dad Panther. I am here with the not so super fan Manny, and we're here for another episode of the 1, 2, 3 count. And the 1, 2, 3 count is where we talk about issues, opinions, things that come up in wrestling news. Even though, as right now, a little bit more one sided than the next. But if you have any opinions, any news articles, anything that grabs your attention, go ahead and put inside the comments, hit the subscribe button, like, follow, and comment for more, notification bells on, and check out the links in the description as we get a nice little kickback for support, and we appreciate that as always. Now, with that being said, our show is going to be a fast-paced show. On this one, we're going to talk about some of the after effects about what Goldberg has said about a certain WWE wrestler, and WWE looks like they're not playing games, and they kind of clap back. We'll talk about JBL, I'm a wrestling god, what he said about a upcomer at NXT going up against a WWE legend. And we'll start the show off with talking about WWE and Drake, not necessarily Drake, but Money to Blow getting it in. WWE went ahead and signed that deal with ESPN over the summer, and they launched a new app, and you had WrestlePalooza, and we've had another event since then. And what Mesler has been basically saying is, and believe the guy if you want or not, that's a different conversation for another day, is that the WWE is pulling in anywhere between 30 to maybe $40 million. And he's really roughly basing that off of the estimation of 100,000 to maybe 125,000 new people signing up for this app. It doesn't count satellite bars. It doesn't count businesses like that. It doesn't count cable. I don't even understand how sometimes we can just say things. But point blank, if it is the case that the WWE is losing some money on it, do you think do you think the WWE waits to tweak some stuff with TKO? You think ESPN or Disney waits to tweak anything, or is this just it's too early to see exactly who's this good for?
So I think again it's a fresh partnership. So I don't, it I'm not gonna say it's not gonna work out because of course people are gonna be turned off by the product at the beginning, with the price and everything. Because
Mhm.
again, you got to think about shareholder; they want to make their money. But I think it's just the way they kicked it off with this crazy pricing for pay per view, where you again ESPN is owned by Disney, um, where they could have had a similar situation at like Peacock, where you have the opportunity to watch the pay per view without paying that extra $30. Um, but now most people where you have all these other streaming services where everything has something you want to watch. Now you want to watch WWE, you got to make the decision, do you cut off something else so you could pay that extra $30 to watch
My
I mean,
kids need to eat for me to eat.
and I don't even think because the last pay-per-view I watched I didn't have to pay anything because I had the prescription, so I had to cancel my HBO and called my brother like, "Hey man, I'm gonna need to. We're gonna have to make a deal." Uh, but the the issue there is the next because I don't know if the next pay per view do I have to pay another extra $30 to actually
Mhm.
watch the pay per view because this one was free. So I don't know if for the next one if I have to pay extra $30. And the other thing is on Peacock, I could watch NXT pay per view.
Mhm.
Am I going to be able to watch NXT pay per views on this one, ESPN?
I mean, I think that's the biggest thing about going into this as a new business. It's like when you see the sign saying new manager, new establishment owner, you're trying to find out what was changed, especially if you liked the restaurant or the business already. I think there's going to be some time. Like I recently heard like ESPN people or WWE people talking about there's a certain date when um people who already are grandfathered in or already have cable will be able to participate. And just right now, there's some contracts that are lined up that were already lined up that they kind of have to go through. So I think going into the new year, I think we see this differently. But I do wish the WWE took better care of, or somebody, whoever's in charge of understanding that we don't know how to fucking watch what they think we do. Because it was ridiculous for WrestlePalooza and the one after, where people were trying to figure out where the fuck to go to watch this, and they couldn't figure that out. And so we'll see what happens in the future for that one. But I think it's too new to see what's going on. Both companies have money, billions, and they'll make the adjustment and figure stuff out. So I don't think that's gonna do too much of anything. Now, I do know that we had talked about Bill Goldberg and Bill Goldberg. Bill, he put his foot in his mouth, and he said some stuff about his streak being taken over by a woman, even though he doesn't want to get involved with that because he doesn't know her like that. I don't even, when you say things like that at the end, I think your brain should say you shouldn't be talking about this. But right after that, WWE had their way of clapping back. Manny, how did that look?
So even in Goldberg's comment, he said that WWE has something against him. But after that, the way he just responded to some girl, like he was kind of looking down on her. But the way Asuka responded, like in a respectful way, to how she looks up to him as a pioneer, but with her act, even again, like I said, we talked about in the last video a while back, that even with her accolades, Goldberg doesn't compare to her. But if you have, I'm just gonna say that if you have Netflix, you watch WWE Raw, I would say at 47 minute 32 second.
Receipts are shown.
Yeah, they did a nice highlight for Asuka, showing all her accolades, how she's one of the top women in the WWE, one of the, I would say, pioneers. Like being undefeated in the NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the only women that got undefeated for so long, 500 and something, I forgot, days undefeated as a women NXT champion. And all the other, championship, Money in the Bank, and all of that. So it's just WWE throwing jab at Goldberg, like, hey, listen, man, you may have had this, undefeated streak, but compared to her and everything else, you're not up there, my guy.
No,
You're not up there.
And the thing, like I had mentioned before, I said it would have been cool. We had talked about this on another episode. I was like, if I was WWE, I've done everything I could for Goldberg, for the shareholders to get the nostalgic championship match, not deserved, put you back in the pedestal for a bit. And then you say some shit like this, like Bret Hart, we get it, but this, and like I said, I would have 100% changed her intro to Goldberg for a bit just to get the crowd to start chanting her name like they do Goldberg, and just that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do.
But before we go, like one thing, you could attribute like the rise of women, like the women wrestling, like as far as like this generation, you have to attribute her to some of that. Like you have to give her credit. She was part of the four horsemen, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she played a big role as far as the popularity and the rise of women. Was she? I believe so, right?
Was she?
Huh?
I don't remember now.
No, I'm saying like, no, sorry.
I get what you're saying.
No, what I meant to say, like, as far as like, the four horsemen, they kind of
she's one of the OGs,
made it popular, but you have to put Asuka in that list too, when it comes to popularity. That's what I meant to say. That it can't just be like, because she always been consistent with her match. Just like Io Sky, who I think is also up there. And Goldberg wouldn't be can't compare to Io.
I get that, but as far as the horsemen, that would be Sasha, Bailey, Charlotte, and Becky.
Yeah.
So is she one of the OG ones that helped put a name on women's wrestling, especially for the WWE and the indie scene? Yes. Is she more impactful than Goldberg Goldberg. That's something that people will debate. That's just what it is. There's some people who might not know her matches or anything like that, or understand her versus Goldberg because they might have watched Goldberg at a certain time.
But which is why I'm saying Goldberg was impactful. He was this standout guy. He was a beast. He walks out, like unstoppable machine. But I think every time he opens his mouth and say something stupid like that, he's tarnishing his legacy.
I don't know.
You
I
know?
feel like they just you've had the spotlight for so long. You want to keep having the spotlight, and as you get older, you know, that's just kind of the idea of it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why he says the things he says. I don't know.
Hmm.
But we'll go ahead and keep moving on. So the other thing that was interesting was JBL rumor. JBL had mentioned that a former, or not even former, a current, we're kind of in the middle, NXT star, we don't know what happens to Oba, would be a great opponent for Brock Lesnar. Now, great minds think alike. Mr. Showtime's a heel, so is JBL. And I said this on a previous episode. I said it multiple times. I said it from the top of the motherfucking mountain that this is the matchup that people want to see. This is the matchup that we need to see. Big, meaty men slapping meat, passing the torch off from one big monster to another big monster. And I had my booking would have been that John Cena would have kept the championship belt, lost to Cody, which keeps Cody frustrated and thinking about going heel because damn it, the good guy just doesn't win. And then Brock destroying John Cena, and then Oba shows up and destroys both of them even faster, and he becomes your champion. He takes the belt off of John Cena before John Cena walks out of the door, and you built up this legend really early on. But what's your take on JBL agreeing with Mr. Showtime?
I think great mind thinks a lot. Think alike. Think alike.
We think a lot too. We just
Yeah.
overthink it. We just
So this would be a interesting dream match. But just like you, I would not want this to be a squash match where Brock Lesnar. I hope that's not. If
no,
it
squash
ever
him,
happened,
squash him.
no, I
Brock
mean,
needs to go out
no, that's
squashed.
what I'm saying. I'm saying Brock squashing Oba,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Brock is one of those wrestlers that's willing to put somebody over too.
He is, but I just feel like how do you book him and keep Brock? And that's why I had said
I
that
think you can.
when Brock came in and did that to John Cena before the match, that's what I thought Oba should have done. And
So
by the time you get to a match with Brock and Oba, it becomes this big spectacle. It becomes this big heavyweight battle. I don't mean that Oba would squash Brock. Respectfully, Brock, look at his physique. Look at it. I mean, he still got it. Just in that moment of a promo to be like, hey, I'm on point to what you are. The same way when Brock came into the league originally. Again, I think one of his first match or big match was against Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Stone Cold said, "Nah, I'm not doing this. After this, I'm gonna leave. I'm fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin, and you're not gonna make me lose to fucking Brock Lesnar. I think on Monday Night Raw versus a pay per view and let it burn. You can have Brock versus I think it was Ric Flair end up taking that match, anyways. But what were we saying?
So one thing they could do is have them have that moment where where they usually uh all the security guard, all the ref comes out, all the management in the back comes out, and
Mhm,
these guys are just touring through everybody nonstop,
mhm,
but they never get a chance to meet each other, like actually go physical at it. You know,
mhm,
it is touring through each other, and that's the end of the show. Just touring, and they stop. Somehow they manage to stop them, but it's touring. And every week, they like, until the build up happens, till they finally meet up at like a pay per view or something. Brock Lesnar versus upcoming newcomer Oba Femi, for a belt or something, or a steel cage match, or a street fight, something hardcore, but something where the match goes so long where it's not even where one is dominating over each other, but it's like so brutal that you don't know who's gonna win. But these
mhm.
guys are so strong. It could go any way, and either way. But it end up being Oba Femi at the end.
Yeah, I think you let it have a 3-match. One wins, the other wins. Oba wins the final. It's respect and admiration. Two big men slapping meat, whether there's a belt on the line or not. And I think the WWE needs to sooner than later get new talent over and make them a foundation, or you're going to run into the risk of you're just going to have a bunch of older people and disconnect for the younger. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
because
get made
I
the
remember
decision.
when like I said, Brock he seemed like the one to want to put the young guys over. Even I think it was WrestleMania 34 where he had the match with Roman.
Uh,
Was it? Was it 34?
the Roman match. What about
Where
the
he was
Undertaker match?
was it on? No, I think it was it Undertaker or was it WrestleMania 35 or 34
Let's see. Let's take a look.
where
You would do this, make us do this shit
he
live.
wanted he didn't want to win against Roman Reigns for the Universal, I believe.
It was Brock versus Roman, WrestleMania 34. That was the
Yeah,
him throwing the belt
yeah,
at Vince in the back. It's like, here, you take this shit. This what you wanted?
yeah.
Oh.
But
Roman was supposed to get that win.
it would be not only a great way to not only send off Brock, but a great way to put Obo over. Just have him dominate the roster like he was in NXT,
Mm-hmm.
and anytime a challenger come, he just put on a great match. And again, compared to Brock, Oba's great at the mic, the ruler.
Yeah, but I think the problem is the landscape that you have in wrestling right now has the old heads. And I get it, even watching the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression, you have the old heads, and it's that transition, and that's just the ebb and flow. You need that. Same thing with any sport. You need the vets to keep doing what they're doing, and you sprinkle in the young ones, and you rotate them into your roster. And right now, like I said, there's just a lot of stuff going on with Cena, Orton, AJ, Charlotte.
Possibly
They're
the
just
bloodline later on. It's
yeah, so
like
it's just there's so many pieces. It's like, how do you put in this piece where this piece doesn't fade away? Because again, you still have Ford and Dawkins, you still have um uh Carmelo, you still have wrestlers who were called up and they're not in major storylines. That's just what it is. And then you get some that get released. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it's been a loaded show. What else you got as we get
no,
out the dough?
that's it for me.
All right. Well, hit the subscribe button, like, follow, comment for more, notification bells on so you can get more for the 1, 2, 3 count. If wrestling's not your jam, I mean, we do horror movies and television and film and reality shows and things, after hour shows that you shouldn't be watching unless no one's around or you're with that special someone. Like we talk about anything because we just like to talk. But
After
you could have
hours,
been,
huh?
yeah. I mean,
Maybe,
I got some stuff up there. Got some
maybe
steamy stuff
I
up there.
should get my what's that called? Cinemax.
I mean, you might have to. You might have to like look at the squinting vision as it's going with the weird colors. Like, what are you watching? No, I'm not watching anything. And you could have been anywhere in the world, and you chose to be here. Until next time, Daddy loves you. Shit, I'ma get into